So here's just a short video on mixed bus recording on the Audient at SAE New York. So a couple things, we're gonna have to use the patch bay for this, and you're gonna have to kind of know what you need and bring all the right stuff. There's two things we can do mixed bus recording. One of them we did cover in the patch bay video we just talked about a second ago. So if we want to record to our own audio interface, the things that we need is 2 1/4" to TT cables. We need 1 audio interface. We need 1 computer. We need 1 pair of headphones, and we need 1 recording software. Obviously, most of that is pretty obvious, but I'm just putting it down here so you just have a nice list of everything you need to make sure you bring in. If you want to use this as a checklist, so when you leave your home, you make sure you bring all the correct stuff, I won't be mad. So step number 1, get your 2 1/4" to TT cables from the equipment room. Step number 2 is connect from the tape 1 left-right mix to the inputs on your audio interface. Then step number 3 is monitor through the headphones plugged into your interface. Obviously, you're gonna have to hit record on your audio DAW software, whatever it is you're recording with, but I'm skipping all that because that's gonna be whatever software you're using is gonna be what you do there. And that's just right here. And we already talked about this, but it goes out from the tape 1, and then into your audio interface inputs. So that's why that's in pink here. It doesn't go to anywhere on the patch bay itself. It goes into your audio face inputs. So that's that. And then the next one, though, is what you're probably going to be doing most of the time. And this is why this is a little bit more confusing. That's why I have it set up here. This is recording back into SAE's Pro Tools. So if you do not want to bring your computer and audio interface into SAE, how can we record that bounce into the computer at SAE? Now, why would we do this? Because when you're using a console to mix with, you're going out of the computer. You can't just hit bounce in the computer and expect it to work. You have to actually record it back into itself using the console, because that's what you've got set up. So all those faders and the EQ settings and all the reverbs and stuff you're using, that's all going to come back. That has to be recorded somehow, right? As a stereo mix that we can listen to at home or in the car or whatever. So this is why we have to do this. So we need 2 TT cables connected from tape 1 left-right mix to any 2 tape send record A inputs. Now this is something we haven't really talked about. This is the part across the top up here. This is our tape sends and record A inputs. So if I look in here, zoom in, go up top, this is our record A inputs for different channels, and you can see there's 24 of them. Okay, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and see how it says group out to record A inputs? Well, the group out is the group out on the back of the Audient, which we don't need to use for this. And our record A is for that number 24 there. So if we want to record in, the easiest is to use channels 23 and 24 because we know we're probably not using them. Unless you have a really big mix, you're not going to have to worry about it. Now, even if you are mixing a really big mix, we can still use this. We just can't monitor it the same way. So don't worry about that. If you have a big mix, you can still use it the way you need to. Okay, just my advice is just follow these instructions and it will get you to where you need to go. So 2 TT cables connected from any unused channels, probably 23 and 24, play A to tape 1, left, right, monitor mix, and then tape 1 button in the source select. So this one here, I'm trying to think. From any unused, play A. Hold on one second, Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect up tape 1. Oops. Tape 1 here. Left-right mix is going to go into our input here. Boom. And now once we've got that set up, you don't actually have to set up these blue ones here, play A to this one here. This is only if you want to monitor it back. If you're pretty sure that it's going to work fine and you just want to take your chances, all you have to do is set up these green ones here. You do not need to set up the blue ones. So step number Step number 2 is actually optional. I didn't write that in here, but it's actually optional. And then, why do we not have, yeah, and then step number 1 is not optional. Step number 1, you have to have that set up. So we have to have two TT cables connected from tape 1 left-right mix to any 2 tape sends. Doesn't matter which ones you used. You just got to make sure you remember which ones you used, because the numbers here in step number 5, the numbers from number 1, whatever you used here is what you have to have your input set for step number 5 down here. Okay, so that's why you have to have that set up. Again, I'm even confusing myself right now, because to picture this like in my head is kind of weird. But as long as you go in and you have these instructions in front of you, you should be good. Step number 2, like I said, this is optional. Any 2 TT cables connected from any unused channels back into monitor's input. Again, optional. If you feel like everything should work fine, the cable should work fine, you can always listen to it later. Press tape 1 button in the source select area, number 5 on the Audient master section picture. So that is, if we go over to tape 1 button in the source select, that's talking about over here in the master section, right down here, boom, tape 1 right there. That's what that's talking about there. Okay. And then in Pro Tools, create a stereo audio track, name it. The inputs, set them to whatever you set up in channel 1 in step number 1. In my case, we have it set for 23 and 24. And then the outputs, the same channel numbers from step number 2. If you are not monitoring, then don't worry about that part right now. Number 6, input monitor the track, record arm the track. When you play the track, you should see levels on Pro Tools and you should hear the track. Record. Be careful, any adjustments you make on the mixer will be recorded. Also, don't touch the master fader. So if you make, if you're adjusting your faders, you are going to be recording those fader adjustments if you're recording stuff. Awesome, and it's set up like this. There you go. Green, boom, blue, boom. There you go. Okay, and that's here's the picture of the tape 1 right there. Cool. So hopefully this helps a bit. I know it's a little bit confusing. I just kind of